The china teacup clinked softly as I set it in front of her, watching her perfectly manicured nails drum impatiently against my dining room table. Ashley Morrison, my husband's mistress of 8 months, looked exactly like the photos I found on his second phone. Young, beautiful, and utterly convinced of her own superiority. "I prefer coffee," she said, wrinkling her nose at the tea. "How unfortunate," I replied smoothly, taking my seat across from her. "Now, you were saying something about being pregnant." "My name is Rebecca Chen, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had a normal, happy marriage. James and I had been together for 12 years, building what I believed was a comfortable life together. Then I found the phone, and everything changed." "Yes," Ashley said, touching her still flat stomach. 12 weeks along. "James and I have been planning our future together. He's just waiting for the right time to tell you." I took a careful sip of my tea, letting the familiar jasmine scent calm my nerves. "How interesting. And when did you say you two met?" 8 months ago, at his gym." Her smile turned predatory. "He said he was trapped in a loveless marriage, that you were cold, focused only on your career." I almost laughed. My career as a forensic accountant was exactly what had led me to discover their affair, and much more besides. It started with the phone. A basic burner model hidden in James's gym bag. I wasn't snooping, I was doing laundry when it fell out. But once I found it, my professional instincts kicked in. One phone meant one affair, but separate bank accounts, that suggested something bigger. "James tells me you're quite successful," Ashley continued, her tone condescending. "I'm sure you'll be fine on your own. The divorce settlement won't be necessary," I cut in smoothly. "You see, Ashley, I've been doing some investigating of my own." Her smile faltered slightly. "What do you mean?" Instead of answering, I pulled out my laptop and turned it to face her. On the screen was a detailed spreadsheet, dates, amounts, account numbers. 8 months of transactions between James's secret account and various offshore entities. What is this?" Her perfectly plucked eyebrows drew together in confusion. "This," I said quietly, "is evidence of money laundering. Quite sophisticated, actually. James has been helping certain clients at his investment firm move money through a series of shell companies. And you, my dear, have been helping him." The color drained from her face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "No, your signature is on half these accounts. Your modeling agency, the one that's never actually booked a model, has processed over $2 million in the past 6 months. She set down her teacup with shaking hands. "James handles all that. He said it was just tax planning. Tax evasion at best, money laundering for some very dangerous people at worst." I scrolled through more transactions. "The SEC takes a very dim view of this sort of thing. So does the FBI." "You're lying," she whispered, but I could see the doubt creeping into her eyes. James wouldn't." "James would and did. The question is, what are you going to do about it?" Before she could answer, we heard the front door open. James's voice called out, "Becca, are you home?" I saw an unfamiliar car in the driveway. He'd appeared in the dining room doorway, freezing when he saw us. His face went through a rapid series of emotions: shock, fear, anger, finally settling on a forced calm. "Ashley," he said carefully, "what are you doing here?" "Telling your wife about our baby," she said, but her voice had lost its earlier confidence. "About our plans." "There is no baby, is there, Ashley?" I asked gently. "That was just part of the plan. Come here, make a scene, give James a reason to file for divorce. A clean break that wouldn't raise any suspicions when he suddenly moved money around." James's face hardened. "Becca, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly." I turned the laptop toward him. "I understand every transaction, every shell company, every fake invoice. The only thing I don't understand is why. We had a good life, James. What happened?" "What happened?" He laughed bitterly. "What happened is I got tired of playing it safe, of watching clients make millions while we lived on a salary." Ashley understood that. She was willing to take risks. Risks? Ashley's voice was small. "James, you said this was all legal, that we were just helping people avoid taxes. Helping drug cartels hide their money, you mean?" I pulled up another spreadsheet. "Or was it the human trafficking ring?" "I've traced it all, James, every dirty dollar you helped clean." He moved suddenly, lunging for the laptop, but I was faster. In one smooth motion, I closed it and stepped back. Don't bother, I said calmly. It's all backed up, and as of this morning, it's in the hands of some very interested federal agents. You didn't, he breathed. I did. But first, I moved every penny from your secret accounts. All that money you thought you were going to run away with, it's gone. Ashley stood up so quickly her chair fell over. What do you mean gone? Exactly what I said. The accounts are empty. And before you ask, no, I didn't keep it. It's in a secure federal holding account waiting to be returned to its rightful owners or seized as evidence. James's face had gone an interesting shade of gray. Do you have any idea what they'll do to me when they find out? They who, James? The cartels? The trafficking rings? The clients whose dirty money you've lost? I smiled without humor. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to play criminal mastermind. A car door slammed outside, followed by another. Through the dining room window, I saw dark SUVs pulling up to the house. That would be the FBI, I said quietly. They've been waiting for my signal. Signal? Ashley's voice was barely a whisper. The tea, I gestured to her untouched cup. I needed to keep you here long enough for them to get in position. Didn't want you running back to warn any of your associates. James made a sudden break for the back door, but I knew he wouldn't get far. I planned this too carefully, spent weeks coordinating with federal agents, making sure every escape route was covered. As agents burst through both doors, I thought about the moment I first found that phone. How my world had shattered, then reformed into something harder, clearer. I'd wanted answers, but what I found was so much worse than a simple affair. Rebecca Chin. A female agent approached me while others handcuffed James and Ashley. I'm Agent Sarah Martinez. That was some impressive work you did, tracking all this. Just doing my job, I said, watching as they led my husband away. Once a forensic accountant, always a forensic accountant. Still, she said, it couldn't have been easy. Turning in your own husband. I thought about the past 8 months, about all the lies and manipulations. About how James had used our marriage as a cover while he built his criminal enterprise. Actually, I said quietly, it was easier than living with the lies. The next few weeks passed in a blur of federal interviews, court appearances, and endless paperwork. I watched from the gallery as James and Ashley were arraigned, him appearing in an orange jumpsuit, her in a wrinkled designer dress that had lost its allure in overnight lockup. How are you holding up? Agent Martinez asked after one particularly long session. We developed a sort of friendship during the investigation, bonding over late-night stakeouts and complex financial trails. Better than expected, I admitted, though the media circus is getting old. The story had exploded once it broke. Prominent investment banker caught laundering money for criminal enterprises brought down by his own wife. The headlines ranged from sensational, wife's revenge, how love turned to justice, to absurd, forensic accountant by day, vigilant by night. It'll die down, Sarah assured me. But Rebecca, there's something else you should know. She handed me a file. Inside were photos, surveillance shots of James meeting with various people in the weeks before his arrest. We've identified most of them, she said carefully. Cartel representatives, trafficking ring operators. But this one, she pointed to a photo of James with a well-dressed older man. This is concerning. I recognized him immediately. Martin Wallace, James's mentor at the firm, and potentially the mastermind behind the whole operation. We think James was just a mid-level player in something much bigger. My stomach clenched. The firm itself. She nodded grimly. We've been building a case against Wallace Financial for months. Your evidence against James gave us the break we needed. And now they know I'm the one who provided it. Exactly. Sarah's expression was serious. We'd like to put you in protective custody, at least until... No. The word came out sharper than I intended. I'm not hiding. Rebecca, these people are dangerous. So am I said quietly, in my own way. And I was. Over the next few days, I dove deeper into Wallace Financial's records, using everything I knew about James's methods to trace similar patterns throughout the firm. Each discovery was immediately forwarded to Sarah and her team. Martin Wallace tried to approach me once, cornering me in the parking garage after a court session. Mrs. Chen, he said smoothly, such a shame about James, but perhaps we could discuss a mutually beneficial arrangement. I held up my phone, showing him I was recording. The only arrangement I'm interested in is watching you join him in prison, Mr. Wallace." His friendly mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something cold and dangerous underneath. "Be careful, Mrs. Chen. Accidents happen to people who don't know when to stop digging." "They certainly do," I agreed. "Like what happened to David Porter?" He went very still. David had been another junior partner at the firm who died in an apparent car accident 3 years ago, right after he'd started asking questions about certain client accounts. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "No. Then you won't mind if I share my theories with the FBI. Along with the evidence I've been gathering about the firm's activities going back 5 years." He took a step toward me, but I stood my ground. "Everything's already backed up and distributed," I said calmly. "If anything happens to me, it all goes public. Every transaction, every shell company, every dirty deal you've ever made. How do you think your clients will react to that kind of exposure?" He studied me for a long moment, then smiled tightly. "James never understood what he had in you, did he? You would have been an asset to our operation." "I'm not interested in being anyone's asset, Mr. Wallace. I'm interested in justice." 2 days later, federal agents raided Wallace Financial. Martin Wallace was arrested along with half the senior partners. The evidence I'd gathered, combined with what they found in the raid, exposed a decades-long criminal enterprise that had laundered billions for some of the worst people in the world. James, facing multiple federal charges, agreed to cooperate in exchange for a reduced sentence, 20 years instead of life. Ashley got 5 years, mostly because she could prove she hadn't known the full scope of the operation. "I really was pregnant," she told me during a brief meeting before she was sentenced. "I lost it in county lockup. Maybe that's for the best." I felt a moment of sympathy for her, despite everything. She'd been young and foolish, easily manipulated by James's promises of wealth and excitement. "Learn from this," I said quietly. "Make better choices next time." The day Wallace Financial fell, I sat in my home office, watching the news coverage. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "You should see Wallace's face when we showed him the evidence. Priceless." I smiled, but it was bittersweet. The investigation had given me purpose during the worst months of my life, but now that it was over, I had to face my new reality. My marriage was over. My husband was going to prison. The life I thought I had been built on lies. But as I looked around my office, at the degrees on the wall and the career I'd built, I realized something important. I wasn't just James Chen's wife anymore. I was Rebecca Chen, forensic accountant and fraud investigator. The woman who brought down a criminal empire not out of revenge, but because it was right. Sarah called later that evening. "The Bureau's interested in bringing you on as a consultant. Your work on this case was impressive." I thought about it, about using my skills to help catch other criminals, protect other innocent people. "I'm interested," I said, "but I have one condition." "What's that?" "I want to look into other firms like Wallace Financial. This can't be the only one." She was quiet for a moment. "It's not. And we could use someone with your skills." "But Rebecca, it could be dangerous." I thought about James, about how he'd underestimated me, about how the whole firm had dismissed me as just another corporate wife. "Good," I said firmly. "Let them underestimate me. It's worked out pretty well so far." 6 months later, I sat across from another criminal banker in another federal interview room, watching him try to explain away suspicious transactions. He had no idea that the quiet forensic accountant asking detailed questions had been instrumental in bringing down Wallace Financial. Let them underestimate me. Let them think I'm just another investigator going through the motions. Because in the end, that's what makes me dangerous. Not revenge or anger, but the quiet determination to expose the truth, no matter what it costs. James writes sometimes from prison. Letters full of apologies and explanations. I don't read them anymore. The woman he wrote them to, the trusting wife who believed in their perfect life, doesn't exist anymore. In her place is someone stronger. Someone who turned personal betrayal into professional purpose. Someone who knows that sometimes the biggest crimes aren't committed with guns or violence, but with spreadsheets and wire transfers. And someone who's very, very good at following the money.